Thank you so much to all of my patrons. Join now to help support the channel and help pick the books that I review. Link in the description below. Y'all, I have just finished listening to Carl's Doomsday Scenario, the second book in the wildly addictive Dungeon Crawler Carl series by Matt Dinniman. I did say listening, and that's important because as far as recommending this series goes, first of all, I recommend this series to everybody. I think it has something that everyone's going to find enjoyable, to fall in love with. This is a series that I know personally I'll be listening to at least once a year, if not more. But as for me and my house, we believe in the audiobooks for this series. Jeff Hayes with Sound Booth Theater has moved to the top of my list as far as favorite narrators. The first narrator to dethrone Stephen Pacey and Frank Muller. Let that sink in for a minute, all you audiobook lovers out there. If you know, you know. In Carl's Doomsday Scenario, the training levels are over. The real game has begun. In the first book, we find out that Dungeon Crawler World is televised to trillions across the galaxy. The ratings have never been higher. The views are off the chart. The fans, just like the readers, cannot get enough of Carl and Donut. With each new level that our crawlers descend to, and with each passing day, this dungeon becomes more and more dangerous. It has never been more apparent that this dungeon was created to be a grinder, to chew up and spit out crawlers by the millions, the last remaining survivors of the human race. Carl and Donut are going to have to work even harder just to survive. This particular level is called Overcity. It appears to have once been a sprawling, once thriving metropolis until something mysterious happened to it. The streets, however, are far from abandoned. Carl and Donut discover an undead circus, among other surprises, and instead of it raining men, it's raining murdered prostitutes. Oh yeah, and Carl still doesn't have any pants. Once again, Matt Dinniman has knocked it out of the park for me with this installment in the series. Just like I did when I finished Dungeon Crawler World, as soon as I finished Carl's Doomsday Scenario, I already had the third book downloaded and ready to hit play. And that's exactly what I did. And just to be completely honest with you, I could not tear myself away from the third book once I started it. I finished that one before I could even make myself sit down and work on these reviews to share with you all. It's important to me to spread the love for this series because it's so criminally underrated. This is a series that will bust any slump. It's going to make you laugh so much. Now, I will say, in Carl's Doomsday Scenario, Matt Dinniman does lean a little bit further into the LitRPG element of this series, meaning we get a lot more information about the player's stats, their numbers, and Carl spends a little more time theory crafting about where he's going to place his different points. And even though this was a little more number heavy, I do think he still maintained the balance between how much of that he puts in that's not going to lose non-gaming readers. Now, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. The beginning of this book, when Carl and Donut descend to level 3, we spend about 30 or 40 minutes as they each choose a race and a class and assign points. I got a little bored with this, although I did get a kick out of Donut's portion of it, which was really quick. If you know her personality because you've read the first book, you're probably going to have an idea about how that went. As far as characters, unlike my husband who saw a shift in his favorite characters with this book, I didn't. I just added to my list. There are a couple of more characters who have the potential to become top favorites. I got a little more page time with them in this book, such as Mongo, who is Donut's pet dinosaur. Oh my lord, this thing eats anything it can get its little mouth on, and he ate some things that did not sit well with him, and that was hilarious. That's one of the parts in the book that I rewound several times because I was getting so tickled. Another character that grew on me more in this book is Mordecai, and how Matt Dinniman keeps that character so entertaining is with each level his race changes, and in this particular book He's a frog, or a toad rather. And this is where the audiobook shines, because Jeff Hayes, as he's voicing the character of Mordecai, he adds this quiver, this waver to his voice, and he does like toad noises. Oh my gosh, I was getting so tickled. I just absolutely loved it. A new element that is introduced in this book on this level are elite mobs. The elite mobs have different characteristics than the non-playable characters. These elites are created, they're printed and imprinted with memories in order to act out their dramas, because for the most part, the elites on this level are our quest givers, which is another feature introduced on this level, our quests. And despite Mordecai warning Carl and Donut to not get involved in any quest, you already know what happened, don't you? It's the quest lines that I found to be the most intriguing part of the dungeon crawler world in this particular installment of the series. As Carl and Donut accidentally plundered their way into a quest, it requires interacting with NPCs and elite mobs in some cases in the dungeon world, and the things that these characters are saying are indicating to Carl and also us the reader that there's something else going on here, that some of these characters, the non-playable characters, are perhaps being forced to participate in this dungeon against their will. At least that's the impression that I was getting. Now, without a doubt, my favorite new thing to get introduced on this level in this book are upgrades. Occasionally, crawlers will receive upgrades in their loot boxes that will upgrade one particular equipped item. And in the case of Carl, he does not get to choose the item. He can't cheat the game by taking off everything except the one thing that he wants to upgrade. It's chosen by the AI. Now, if you've read the first book, you already know what that upgrade got applied to. Oh my gosh, I think I listened to that part 5 times, no less than 5 times. It was the best. Carl's Doomsday scenario was originally published in January of 2021. The newest hardback edition will be available on September 24th, courtesy of Ace Publishing. Mad respect to Matt Dinniman right now. His star is just on a meteoric rise. From what I've read, he originally started posting on Royal Road, later moved on to self-publishing through Amazon, got the audiobooks on Audible. Now his first 3 books, he's sold the rights to Ace Publishing. He recently signed the TV adaptation over to Universal Studios and Seth MacFarlane's company. I just love to see it, and so do all of the other Dungeon Crawler Carl fans. And I think you should be one of them. If you have not read this series, there is no time like the present, and again, I cannot recommend the audiobook enough. Like I mentioned earlier, I am already deep off into book 3. I will have that review coming out next month. I hope you will stay tuned for that. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the review. Remember, a good book is always worth sharing. Until the next one, keep turning those pages. Thanks again to all of my patrons, with a special shout out to my top tier Nerds Radiant patrons, Chad, John, Gail, Amanda, Ashley, Star, Tara, Anne, Amanda, Andrew, Kate, Ev, and Sharon.